How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with another FPL live stream. This time, I got a lot less hair on my head and on my beard. It was time to take off the hair because it's too hot in August to have that kind of big of a beard and that much hair on your head. So a bigger guy like me, you tend to sweat even by just looking at it outside at how hot it is. But yeah, we've come a clean cut. Well, not clean, but stubble. As low as we can go, without using a razor, and a clean start to the season. 2 good game weeks, and we'll talk about exactly how many points I got. But I know there's going to be a lot of bad scores going on this week because the title of the stream is Captain Blanks Galore. The 2 main guns, Salah and Fernandez, came away with no returns whatsoever. And yeah, it was basically just based on how many other players you had that did well. So if you didn't have certain players, you probably got a big red arrow this week. And I was surprised because going into it, I was sitting around like 160k when I had started the season from my 110 points at 55k. But we actually managed to get a slight green arrow this week, which is amazing. So yeah. Two good green arrows, and yeah, we'll take it. And as normal, we'll talk about our predictions, our differential picks, clean sheet pick, all that sort of stuff. We'll take a look at our watch list as well, which I'm going to add to the show. We're going to see who's going to be added, who's going to be removed, and then as per normal, we'll take a look at the transfers as we normally do. So yeah, without further ado, let's talk about our partners for the season with Fantasy Football Scout. So, if you haven't heard about Fantasy Football Scout, you probably should get on it. Make sure to go check out the articles they have. They have free articles on their site, but more importantly, as you can see up there, there is plenty of different things in the members area that's going to help elevate your FPL game. I think they have a 20% offer still if you use the link in the About section here on Twitch, or if you're watching this VOD over on YouTube, it's down in the description below. I think they said they had the 20% till Sunday, but it's only £20 when it's normal price anyway. It's a fantastic offer. Make sure to use it. It's going to help elevate your FPL game. Now, without further ado, let's see how the team did. So, Zodiac says, I've smashed both game weeks and it's been amazing. It feels amazing when you do well. I think what I've learned is that go with the safer picks when they seem obvious. So like last season, a lot of this, like one of the safe picks was like Timo Werner, who's very highly owned. He was unproven though, and a lot of players went with him, and he ended up just basically doing a whole bunch of nothing for the most part. And I feel like Ivan Toney was kind of that this season, but yeah, it's a bit different this time. This time along, the picks that did well are the ones that a lot of players, a lot of managers have. Like if you look at my team just off the start, like the 2 players in my team that were going to get me rank rise, basically like heavy rank rises, was Salah captain, obviously, over Bruno if Salah did more, Barnes and Wilson. And those 2 didn't do well. They got 1 and 2 points. So, and Zodiac's got 196 points, overall rank of 22k. That is fantastic. A very good start for you. But if I think if you're in the top million after the first 4 game weeks, you're doing all right. You're definitely doing all right. If you're in the top million after the first game week, you're doing all right. If you're in the top 100k after the first week, you're doing definitely all right. So yeah, it's all about progressing forward, and keeping those green arrows going, basically. So, and that's that's either steady the ship on your bad game weeks or increase your lead on the good game weeks. Will all depend. So, let's start off with the topic of the show: captains blanks galore. So, if you went Salah, if you went Fernandez, if you went Son. If you, for some reason, went, a completely different player, you probably had a blank this week, unless you went like Antonio or maybe even Mahrez. But Mahrez's score wasn't the craziest score in the world. You probably didn't do the captain points weren't all that. It was about whoever else you had in your team. And Zodiac said he did it without Bruno, so your team must have been... Your differential picks is what must be doing really well. Must be doing really, really well. So if you look at like the players that did well from like the what we would deem the template, or the very high-owned players that everyone sees on Twitter and that sorts of stuff, you got Sanchez 6 points, Trent Alexander-Arnold 12 points, massive. Tsimikas 11 points. Tsimikas could go up in price tonight to 4.2, so if you had him from the beginning, he's going to gain 0.1 in value. Another thing is that Tsimikas costs 4 million, Jota costs 7.5 million. Jota scored twice. He scored twice. Back-to-back game weeks. And Tsimikas still has 1 more point than him. How about that one? How about that? Jota has 16 points, whereas Tsimikas is on 17, which is amazing. Luke Shaw in a 1-1 draw got 2 bonus points, so we'll take that. Again, he's very highly owned. Fernandez conceding and getting booked for descent. So Fernandez is that can happen from time to time. Everyone's going to have him, but both him and Salah blanked. You would have only gained 2 extra points or 4 extra points. No, 3. Hold on. So if you have Salah in your team, you have 3 points. You captain Fernandez, you gain an additional 1 point. If you captain Salah, just 2 points. I did the math right the first time. You only gain an additional 2 points between Salah captain versus Fernandez captain, which isn't the end of the world, right? But again, Ings, very highly owned, scored. Antonio, very highly owned, scored twice and got an assist with 3 bonus points. Ben Rama, starting to be highly owned, did well. And then like the differential picks, so like the Harvey Barnes, Wilson, Ivan Toney, who was initially a high percentage pick, is slowly dwindling. Again, blanked. So there's a lot of players that needed to do well if you went for differential picks. So Son again also blanked. Someone he's a differential at the moment, but could get more highly owned basically from this week onwards, really. And I'm kind of monitoring his price because I potentially want to swap him out for Salah this week because I have 2 free transfers, as you can see up on the graphic. So it says transfer used. Basically 0 out of 2 means I have 0 transfers used out of the 2 available that I have. And last week's transfers was 0 as well. But yeah, Ben Rama and Antonio, heroes this game week. Double Liverpool defense, heroes. Alisson, shout out to Alisson and Van Dijk, really, because they're the ones that kept the clean sheet in it for anyone who had double Liverpool defense. But yeah, my differentials didn't do well at all. Barnes and Wilson were the only ones that were going to gain me significant rank rise if they did anything, and they didn't, which is why I only got an extra, I think it's like 3k places. But 3k places when you're 55k is actually probably okay. It's probably around like 10k places when you're 100k. It's probably like 100k places when you're, 1 million. So I'm definitely going to take it. Veltman, disappointment again, but it looks like he's also going to be out in game week 3 as well. Now, I'm perfectly okay with that. I didn't plan on playing him in game week 3 either. So unless he goes down in price, which obviously wouldn't be ideal, but he'll probably swiftly go back up in price once he is back in the Brighton defense. But yeah, it's just disappointing that I don't have that option on the bench, but I do have 2 more secure options with Ayling, who got the 1 point, who I'm probably going to end up playing this week because he plays Burnley, and Gilmore, who's just going to be getting 2 points for the entire season, basically. But interestingly enough, he took one of the set pieces, which was I was very keen to see. So we'll keep an eye on that. Maybe we play him in a potential better fixture. Game week 1 plus 2, I had differentials like Vardy, Ben Rama, Greenwood, Wilson, and Antonio Rudiger. Yeah, Chelsea defense. Let's talk about that really quickly. Chelsea defense. We all talked about them last season. They're this fantastic defense, that sort of stuff, and nobody went with them this season. And so far, they've gotten 2 clean sheets in 2, because Arsenal are rubbish, and so are Crystal Palace. Now Liverpool is a different proposition, but they get another clean sheet. Everyone's going to be looking at, okay, over the international break, we need to get some Chelsea players. We need them fast. So, yeah, Lukaku could be going up in price tonight. We'll talk about that later when we're in the transfer section. But, yeah, Chelsea looking strong. The real acid test is this weekend when they play Liverpool. That is going to be the interesting game. That is definitely going to be our tactics talk over the international break, 100%. So, yeah. It's gonna be very interesting to see how that game goes, because Chelsea, a very controlling, possession-oriented style of play, versus Klopp's heavy metal counter-attacking football with the counter press. It's gonna be very interesting to break down, and it's gonna be really, really, really keen on seeing if Alonso gets dropped. Alonso's been a player who's, I mean, he's absolutely smashed it. He got 15 points, game week 1, and then he came in, gets another clean sheet for Chelsea, looked lively as well, often playing, like, left forward. Like, he's in the box, like, in line with Lukaku. It's like, we knew Alonso could do that, but, like, is he going to actually get a string of games and keep Joe out of the side? Who knows? Maybe against Liverpool, probably not, but we'll have to see. And then Reece James, obviously, fantastic as well. Chelsea can keep a clean sheet against all the teams. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I agree with that. I think they can keep a clean sheet literally against anyone. Genuinely. But yeah, all things considered, 79 points is way more than I thought. I was just hoping to get 50 the way it started, personally. I was like, okay, Salah, Blank, Trent, and Tsimikas did well. You know, United's game didn't go well for me. It was a big rank drop because Greenwood scored. Sanchez obviously getting 6 points wasn't bad. And then I was basically going into this last game on the Monday, and I was like, well, I mean, if you take off, what is that, 28, 30 points, I was sitting on 49 points or whatever, 48 points. It was like, this really isn't good enough. So hats off to Antonio and Benrahma. They played excellently. Now, let's get our tweet up on the screen. Where is it? There we go. That's it right there. And we'll move over to the results. So we'll take a look at how we did for these results. Oh, let me move this back over. We'll just center it just a little bit. There we go. Makes it a little bit easier for you guys to see. Now, we have Liverpool versus Burnley. I predicted that exactly right. 2-0. That's how I kind of figured it was going to be. And it kind of played out that way. You know, Liverpool, when they play against these teams that kind of sit in, it's usually either a 2-0 because they eventually just break through. They'll find a way, some way, shape, or form, whether that's through Mane or some type of cross of some kind. And they ended up doing that. I mean, the defense was on the first goal was very poor from Tarkowski and Ben-Mee. How do you let Diego Jota just nip in and just score? You got to be better. You got to be more aware than that. But he did end up getting the goal. It was a fantastic cross by Tsimikas. They just didn't close him down, which is why Tarkowski was getting angry at his midfielders. But he's also kind of to blame as well. So yeah, personally, I think that Tarkowski should be looking at himself a little bit more. And then the second goal, I mean, Trent does basically everything right, running into midfield, getting the first time pass, spins it around Tarkowski into Mane, and Mane's finish was excellent. Although he had a poor game up until then and then made up for it all in one fell swoop. So, the way these predictions work is if you get the exact score right and the result right, you get 3 points. So, obviously, if you get the exact score right, you get the exact result right too. You get 3 points. If you get the just the result right, you get 1 point. And if you don't get it right, then at all in any way, then you get 0 points. Geeky Foot says Dallas a good pick. He can be actually. If Dallas is going to play in midfield, he can be a good pick. The problem is that Dallas started the game off at left back in the first game versus United, and then he was shifted into midfield. If Dallas is going to play in midfield with the likes of Click and Calvin Phillips, he's basically playing Cam. He's basically playing attacking midfield. So at 5-5 for a Leeds team that really attacks, he gets involved. So I think he could be good. But if he's playing at left back, or you don't know if he's going to play left back or whatever, then it could be a bit of an issue. So I think it's one to monitor. I think it is one to monitor. You know, he didn't get involved, obviously, on the score sheet this time. But I think it is one to monitor. I think if you're looking at Leeds midfielder, though, I think Rafinha's probably the one, just because he takes some set pieces and is often kind of the talisman in that sense. So I think it's one to monitor. If you can save the million and it looks like he could be better, then maybe Dallas might be the one to go for, because he does come into the box a lot when they're on the attack if he's playing midfield. Also, Geeky, thank you for the follow as well. So yeah, we get 3 points for that one there. Aston Villa, Newcastle, I predicted 3-1 to Aston Villa. I thought Newcastle would get a goal. Mainly kind of hoping Wilson would get one, but he didn't. It ended up being 2-0, so I got it by the same margin. So we get the 1 point there because we got the result correct. I made a bad decision by picking a Marty and benching Dunk. Yeah, it's a bit rough on that one. That's a bit rough on that one. Mind you, I probably would have played Dunk over the likes of Marty versus West Ham. Leicester's obviously away from home as well. So yeah, probably potentially a bit of an oversight there. But you learn. You learn. The game's all about improving. All about making good decisions. If you can learn from it and not make the same mistake again, then that's all that really matters. I've made plenty of mistakes. I've gotten bench orders wrong. I've gotten, in hindsight, like, you can look at a player and just be like, why did I even... What's the point in that? I mean, last year I made 6 transfers in one game week. So, again, you could look at things and just be like, why would you do that? It just doesn't make sense. Or going for, like, really, really differential captaincy choices. Can I send you my team and you can review? Yeah, put it in. You could type it out in the chat if you want, and we can all take a look at it. We can all have our input. It's all about opinion, and all about getting different views on it. Because once you have views from more than one perspective, you might see something that you weren't necessarily picking up on. So yeah, type it out in the chat. You can do shorthand if you want, as long as it's legible in that sense. So like. Emil Smith Rowe would be ESR. Like, I don't expect you to type out his whole name. Tomo118 says, I have Iheanacho in my team, but he hasn't started either game for Leicester. Who should I transfer him out for? So, Iheanacho is somebody that I wish would actually start for Leicester. The reason being is because, 1, he's very good at holding the ball up. 2, he's very clinical at finishing. And 3, he can play anywhere across the front 3. Now, maybe with Iosi Perez being out, maybe they revert to a front 2. But I think the only reason Brendan Rodgers probably isn't doing that is because he has Johnny Evans and Wesley Fofana out. And he's not keen on putting the likes of, Ricardo Pereira, Castagne in the back 3. So if I was going to transfer him out and you had the funds to do so, I personally would go to Calvert-Lewin if you could. Just because Calvert-Lewin's, he scored 2 and 2 and could do quite well. If you need to go to somebody with a similar price... probably Antonio makes the most sense to me personally. That's what I would go for. Those are my 2 recommendations. I'm sorry, I have to go to sleep. I have to get up in 4 hours. Sleep well when it's your turn. Yep, you as well, Zodiac. Remember, you can always watch it over on YouTube. That's why we post it over there. For those that cannot make the stream. Also, Tomo118, thank you for the follow. But yeah, Iheanacho I wish would start for Leicester because he was my consideration in my team off the bat as well, but just hasn't picked up the games. I don't think Brendan Rodgers likes him, to be honest. I'll watch it tomorrow after work. Yep, it'll premiere probably sometime tomorrow morning, and then tomorrow morning EST time, which will be around early afternoon your time, so it'll definitely be up by then. Yeah. Crystal Palace versus Brentford, I predicted 2-2. It ended up being 0-0, funnily enough. I thought both defenses were going to be a little bit on the weaker side. So, yeah, I mean, I got the draw right, so we get the 1 point. So, all things considered, not a terrible result for either team, I don't think. I can't message you a Twitter to send a pic. It's probably better to put it to just type it quickly in the chat just so everybody can see it. Just because it makes it easier. And I don't want to have to put links in the chat because then I gotta open other stuff on my screen. I have a lot of stuff on my screen already as it is. But yeah, if you just type in quickly, if like, so for Allison, you just put like you just put his last name. You don't have to put his full name or something like that. You can do some shorthands. Like if I know if you have Tony up front, you could just put Tony. You don't have to put his full name. Ben Rama, you could put like Benny or something like that. And I would know who you're talking about. Mason instead of Greenwood. Or like Green W. you know, you could do like shorthand or something in the chat. We could take a look, because if you just send me the picture on Twitter, you know, I'd have to bring it up and whatnot. But if you put it in the chat, then everyone can see it right away. So yeah. Leeds, I predicted 2-1 over Everton. It actually ended up being 2-2. Everton able to get a draw away from home, so we got it wrong there. Man City 5-0 over Norwich. I predicted 3-0, so we only get the 1 point. We still got the result right. Brighton 2-0 over Watford, so obviously Brighton getting another win for themselves. Getting 2 more goals. Mopé scoring again. And Duffy getting a goal for himself as well. So we got the result right, so another 1-pointer. United, I predicted 3-0 over Southampton. It didn't go as planned. Ended up being 1-1, so we got the result wrong there. Spurs, we predicted by a good goal margin of 2-1, the correct goal margin of 1 goal. But they ended up winning by just 1-0, so just the 1 point there. Chelsea versus Arsenal. Exact prediction there, 2-0, so that's good. We got 2 predicted scores right. And then West Ham, I predicted to lose 1-2 to Leicester, rather. And Leicester ended up losing 4-1. So yeah, it is a bit interesting on that front there. West Ham getting the victory after Iosi Perez had somewhat of a bad challenge. On I believe who was it? I think it was Fornals, I believe it was. It was a very nasty challenge. So we didn't get that one right there. So we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11 actually. So I think that's higher than last week. I'm gonna check my notepad here. Yeah, 2 points higher than last week. So we're getting our predictions a little bit better. I find that it's easier and easier to predict Chelsea and Liverpool's scores than a lot of other teams. So we did quite well. Clean sheet we got right, which was Brighton. Meslier, he didn't save a penalty or anything like that, but he did pick up 6 saves. So he would have ended up with 3 points, so that's probably not good enough to say return. Varane didn't play, unfortunately. Bergwijn, I don't believe, got anything involved. No, he did not, because it was Dele Alli penalty. And Benteke didn't score, although he did play. So the differential picks, we can scrub all those out. But yeah, overall, not ideal. So let's move these out of the way. Move this out of the way, and we'll go to this week's one. And we'll put up the notepad there, and then we'll take a look at the teams. So we got Thomas' team. His first 11 is Sanchez, Trent, Tsimikas, Shaw, Salah, Bruno, Rafinha, Benrahma, Iheanacho, Ings, Antonio, and the bench is Foster, Soufal, Ayling, and Gilmore with 0.5 million in the bank. So you can't actually go to Calvert-Lewin because he's going up by 0.1. So that's a bit of a problem. I don't know how many transfers you have available. But you already have Antonio. I'm just trying to think of potentially the striking options that you could go for. You can go for Richarlison potentially as a differential if you wanted to. That is an option. Newcastle has a good fixture next week, and okay fixtures overall. 2 free transfers. Okay, so you can maneuver some stuff around. You can maneuver some stuff around if you wanted to. But I think your team is more or less fine. I think what you want to do is, because you have Trent, Shaw. So what you probably want to do is get somebody. I would say you probably want to upgrade when Tsimikas could potentially go up in price. So what you might want to do is sell him because he's not going to play next week, almost certainly. I would obviously wait till the press conferences and stuff, but he's probably not going to play next week onwards, assuming Robertson's fully fit. All right, and then you can go from Simicast to another 4.0 if you wanted to, and then bank the transfer again, because I think your team's fine, to be honest. I think your team's perfectly fine. I mean, one thing you could go is you can go Salah to Son this week. You can go Salah to Son this week, and then you can upgrade Iheanacho to Calvert-Lewin if you wanted to, and then later on make sure you have 2 free transfers to get Salah back when his fixtures are good in game week 5 and 6, and you would get rid of Son as well at that point. But you obviously need to find a little bit extra money elsewhere. Maybe potentially get rid of Shaw in 5 or 6, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But something like that, I would say, is probably okay. But it might just be a wait and see, to be honest. My transfer this week, I'm looking for this week is Salah downgrade to Son. So yeah, that's what I would say. And then Geeky Foot put his team, so he's got Sanchez, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Simicast, Amarte, Salah, Bruno, Rafinha, Mahrez, Dallas, Antonio, and Ings, with the subs being Forster, Shaw, Dunk, and Obafemi. I benched Shaw as I thought United would concede at the weekend. Who should I sub in this week? So you have 1 free transfer this week. So I would say you would just play Dunk. Because Dunk has an okay fixture. It's not ideal, but he is at home versus Everton. So it's not terrible, but I would say it's probably fine. Then you have you would play Salah, you would play Bruno, you would play Rafinha, you would probably play Mahrez as well. You're definitely playing Antonio and Ings. And then I think you probably just have to play Dallas because he's up against Burnley. So I think, yeah, that's who you play. Basically, you would just bench Amarte, Simicast, and Obafemi. And you would put Amarte probably... Actually, could you play Amarte? I'm trying to think who's... No, you probably play Dallas over Amarte, I would think. That's what I would do. And I would sit... And then if you were going to use your 1 transfer, depends on how much money you have in the bank. But there's an argument that you can go from... Salah down to Son. You can go from Mahrez up to Son if you wanted to. But I think Mahrez could do well this week anyway because he's up against Arsenal. So take out Trent, Chelsea would definitely score. I mean, that's definitely possible, but Trent could also get a return the other way. That's one thing you have to kind of figure out. Bring in Lukaku or Mount. If you're going to bring in one of those two, I think Lukaku is the one. Is Livramento a good option over Simicast? In terms of a straight up, Livramento probably will be. He was man of the match in the United game. And Simicast, if Robertson's fit, which I think he's expected to be versus Chelsea, I would think that he's going to probably start. The thing is with me, I'm kind of half tempted to keep Simicast just in the event that Robertson goes out there and gets re-injured again, because it seems like he's being rushed back a little bit personally for like a big game. So I'm going to hang on to Simicast this week probably, and then maybe look to potentially get rid of him the following week after the international break. So we'll have to see. And yeah, you don't want to get rid of Simicast yet. You want to wait until his price rises, then get rid of him. Because if you've had him from the beginning, you'll gain 0.1 on his sell value, which is good. Hi, Napol. I've come to talk football. Fantastic. Kane meant to be close to City move? I think so. I'm not sure, though. Because Daniel Levy's playing hardball, which is really weird. That's a good idea. Thanks for your help. No problem. Hopefully I can be of any help. How can United concede much with Varane and Maguire? Swap Ings for Adam Armstrong. That could be a potentially good option in game week 4. Southampton's fixtures, in game week 4 and 5 aren't ideal. He's home to West Ham, but afterwards he has a good a good decent run. Obviously, Chelsea's not great, but yeah, he could be a good pick at 6 million. He's a very good finisher from what I saw. He took his goal that he scored really well in the opening game that they had versus Everton. I think they will start Vestergaard. I think Vestergaard re-injured himself. So Marty might get another game again. So you have to see on that front. I would say wait for press conferences to be sure. Would you play Digne or Amarty? Who does Digne have this week? Digne has Brighton away. I would say I'd play Digne. I would say I play Digne just because he costs more money. You're going to want to put your money out on the pitch. Digne is on set pieces. And Amarty might not necessarily start, even though he has the better fixture. But I would always play Digne over Amarty, unless it was like Digne had Man City away, and Amarty had a really good fixture. I think Liverpool will be counting on Salah this season. They typically count on him all every season, to be honest. But I think Mane can help out a little bit. I think Jota's goals are very timely, so... I'm thinking about captaining Ings as they're against Brentford. Thoughts? I think that is going to be potentially, spoiler, on my as a differential captain for my captaincy video tomorrow. But you have to wait and see. But yeah, could be a very good differential captain. Could be a very good differential captain because all the captains this week are potentially up in the air. You know, Man City play Arsenal. Historically, Arsenal over the last couple of seasons have done better against Man City. Chelsea and Liverpool play each other. That could be a 0-0. Spurs play Watford, so if you have Son, yeah, you can go for that. United have Wolves, who seem to be, very attacking. But Ings has a promoted team, so could be good. Please explain FPL. They want a good price for Kane, but that could be England's possible lineup, not just City's. That's true. That's definitely true. But in terms of FPL, basically it's just the players that play in the games. If they score, get assists, or get clean sheets, they generate accumulated points based on how the rules work. It's like any fantasy sport. It's based off what actually occurs in the events in the games. And your team accumulates points, and you have transfers that you can make. You can make more than one, but you get one free one a week. The rules actually detail it out on the fantasy site. If you up the top here, there's a little menu. You can see how I have like little menus that drop down. There's one under. If you go under fantasy, there's like a rules section that will give you if you want to take a look at that. Ings 30 million, Armstrong 16 million, but I think Armstrong will score more. It's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. Napalm, Grealish, Kane, Sterling, and Foden. Yeah, that could definitely be a very scary front line. That could definitely be a very scary front line. Geeky says the thing is, it's so annoying how Ings isn't on pens anymore as El Ghazi took it, so I think it was so I think he will get another chance. Well, El Ghazi was always the penalty taker. It's just the last time when Ings did take it, El Ghazi wasn't on the pitch. And yes, they're all English. Oliver Saunders says, unfollowed. I hope you didn't unfollow. If I did something wrong, let me know. Maybe it's if I had a good game week. I hope that you had a good game week too. Jorginho takes penalties for Chelsea and hardly misses. Yep, he definitely does. As does Bruno Fernandes for United. So I think we're caught up in the chat. Now let's get to the predictions. Who do you think will win the league this season? I had a predictions video actually over on the channel. You can check that out and see who I predicted to win the league. Over on YouTube. So I basically did table 1 through 10. I said which manager's going to get sacked first, who's going to win the Golden Boot, all that stuff. And do I think El Ghazi will start this weekend? Almost certainly. Brighton often always score set pieces. They do. And Chelsea is my tip. It's potentially mine as well. It's a hard game versus Liverpool. It's definitely an acid test for them. Right. Man City versus Arsenal. I think this is only really going one way. Man City are going to win the game. I don't see Arsenal scoring, personally. I think it's just going to be a very comfortable game for City. I'm going to go just a very standard 2-0 victory for Man City. Aston Villa versus Brentford. I think Brentford could potentially score versus Aston Villa's defense, which is quite weak, personally. Yeah, I think Villa should win this game comfortably. They are at home as well. They'll probably get another 2-0 win, in my opinion. I think they might just keep a clean sheet in this one as well. That would be Arsenal without a win without a win after 3 games. Yes, it will, actually. They'll be on 0 points, most likely. And Aston Villa spent big. Yeah, they spent a decent amount of money, but remember, it's all net. Net even, basically. Brighton and Everton. We have Brighton and Everton. So Brighton have been very good. They got 2 wins and 2. And now they're going against the Everton team that is doing quite well. So, yeah, I think it could be an interesting match. Do I think Brighton will have the advantage? I think slightly. I can see this being Brighton conceding like some type of silly goal, and maybe Everton concede one as well, because I think both teams could be just susceptible to errors. So I'm going to go with a 1-1. I think it's actually going to be a close game. And Tomo118 subscribed with Prime Gaming. Thank you for the subscriber. Much appreciated. You get to use the emote that we have in the chat. I believe it is this one, the one that we have, the little Pilot Flame approved one there. So thank you for that. Yes, lots of outgoing transfers, and Everton haven't spent a penny. Yeah, they've only got a bunch of guys on free as well. So, yeah, I think I think they need to do a little more in the transfer market. But you can see that the way they want to play is clear. Get a lot of crosses in the box, let Calvert-Lewin go and attack them, basically. Newcastle versus Southampton. I think Newcastle could win this game. I think it would be just like Southampton to go and get a nice result against United and then get absolutely smashed versus Newcastle, who aren't great. But I think both defenses are definitely there for the taking. And I think it could be somewhat of a scoring game. I don't think necessarily it's going to be higher scoring because both teams are necessarily good attacking. I think it's because both teams aren't as good defensively. And I think Southampton, the United game, would have taken a lot out of them. So I'm actually going to go with a 2-2 on this one. Kind of too similar in status, exactly. And I think just both defenses are bad, and I think both offenses are okay. Yeah. 2-2, I think. I think just both defenses will just concede silly mistakes. And if Newcastle get the first goal, they could potentially hold out, but that wasn't the case versus West Ham. Norwich versus Leicester. Is Vardy out? No, I think Vardy's fine. I mean, he got subbed off, but that was after they were already down like 3-4-1 or something like that. Vardy is definitely available, I believe. I think Leicester should win the game. I think they should win it comfortably. I'm just going to go, conservative win here. I don't see Leicester don't necessarily blast teams out of the water. But I'm going to go with the 2-0. Yeah, Iheanacho came on towards the end with like not much time left, basically. Him and Sumari came on for Madison and Vardy. They were down like 3 or 4-1 at the time. Yeah, usually Leicester start off quite good, so. Usually Leicester start off quite good. West Ham versus Crystal Palace. I think that West Ham's going to win this game comfortably. I don't see Palace doing well against them. And I think that that West Ham will win the game 2-0 as well. I think they'll keep a clean sheet. I just think Crystal Palace need more. Like, they need Eze, they need Elise fit and available. And I think West Ham will keep a clean sheet. They conceded a very sloppy goal versus Leicester, but I believe that they'll rectify that and get it sorted. Sorry for making your previews up, but do you think El Ghazi will start? Sorry, I had to mute for a second. Yeah, I think El Ghazi will start. Yes. Vardy, Yuri, Tielemans, maybe, and Didi. For the goals, maybe. Thomas says they didn't blast them out of the water unless it's Southampton. Lol. Yeah, true. Southampton tend to have bigger scorelines, and I just realized actually that Tomo is our first subscriber. So thank you, Tomo. I didn't realize that. Oh, they're Leicester's best players. I personally think that Iheanacho was Leicester's best player last season. Like, he didn't play for very much of the season on a consistent basis, but when he did, he was just lights out. There was a point where literally he was undroppable, and the only reason he was actually playing in the first place was because Barnes was injured, James Justin was injured, Maddison was injured, so they like had to play him, and they didn't have Daka at the time, so yeah. Yeah, very interesting. Here's the big one. Liverpool versus Chelsea. The big one. This is a 5:30 kickoff in the UK. And it's going to be a very interesting one. What do we think prediction-wise in the chat? And how often do I stream? I stream typically at the beginning of the week for the preview stream. And then I do a deadline stream. So I do usually 7 p.m. EST for the preview. So, like, for Game Week 4, I'll do it on, like, the Monday before the Game Week kicks off. And then the deadline stream will be up around an hour before the deadline, and we do the stream. So, like, the deadline this week is 7 a.m. my time, so the stream will start at 6 a.m. my time, and I'm 1 hour ahead of Eastern time. I'm 4 hours behind UK time. Are Mane and Salah still out? No, Mane and Salah are fine. Mane and Salah played. Mane and Salah are fine. Just found you randomly by loving your content. Thank you. Glad that you like it. I try to appease everyone, and I try to make the best content that I can and do it because it's fun. And hopefully I can get better and better at presenting, and yeah. At the end of the day, it's just to help everyone kind of come together as one big FPL community, and yeah, just bounce ideas off each other and talk about a game that we like playing and a sport that we love the most, really. So yeah, I'm thinking about using Vardy, as I think it'll be very likely he bags against Norwich. Yeah, I think that could be a good differential captaincy shout this week. He arguably has the best fixture on paper, so I think it could be a good shout. 2-1 to Chelsea. Vardy scores most of the goals in the past 10 years. He's been one of their top scorers. Yeah, but I think when he's with Iheanacho, he's more of he kind of can do both. He can create and he can score. So yeah. News reporter told me a lie earlier. I think so. I think he may have done. I think he may have done. Right. So, Liverpool versus Chelsea. I think this one's going to be tough to call. My instinct is that both teams are good enough to score. But by how much is the question. I think both teams will probably... Liverpool, very rarely do they score at... Liverpool, rarely do they not score at home. So I definitely have to give Liverpool a goal. But how many can Chelsea score is the question. I can't call it. I want to say 0-0, but I think both teams can score, so I'm going to go 1-1. I'm guessing you are American, but if you're not, I'm sorry. But do you watch much of the MLS? I don't watch the MLS, and I am from Canada. Both teams are great. Yep, they are. So, Burnley versus Leeds. This is going to be an interesting one because Burnley are going to hold back the power of Leeds, and Leeds are going to go at them the entire game. Burnley are at home, and they should be a little bit better. I just think Leeds will have too much for them. I see Leeds probably conceding one, but I think Leeds will ultimately win the game and win 2-1. Virgil van Dijk and Konate in defense. I think he likes Matip, to be honest. I think he likes Matip, but if he thinks that... See, I don't think he'll just chuck him out. I think he's just going to keep Matip in there with Virgil van Dijk. Have you got a favorite team you support in the Premier League? Manchester United is who I support. That has been a family pick for quite some time. Burnley always start slow. Yeah, but typically they keep some clean sheets or look good defensively, but they just haven't been on it. Spurs versus Watford. I think this should be pretty straightforward. I'm going to go 2-0. Spurs are at home as well. And then lastly, Wolves versus Man United. I think Man United bounce back. I think Wolves could definitely threaten United. I don't see them scoring, though, which would be 3 games. They might be able to get a goal, but I think United will probably be professional about this one. I think they'll finally keep the first clean sheet as well, United, and get 2-0. Watford, my tip to go down. Maybe they're one of mine. You have to check my predictions over on my YouTube video. And then for the clean sheet and differential picks here. If I can just make this. How do I make this? Let me just adjust the notepad a little bit. Gonna adjust the notepad. There we go. That makes it a little bit easier. So the clean sheet for this week. So I picked Brighton, I picked Liverpool, and then Brighton. So we got to pick somebody different this week. Let's go for Aston Villa as they play Brentford. For the goalkeeper this week, I'm gonna go for. I believe Woodman is still gonna play. If I go to. Where is Newcastle? So Darlow, I believe, is still out. Dubravka is still out. So yeah, I'm gonna go for Freddie Woodman of Newcastle. He's been playing, so if you want a differential goalkeeper, he's 4.5 million. He's only 0.6% owned. Yeah, he could be quite good. Versus Southampton. Might pick up a few saves as well. So we will see on that front. In defense, as a differential pick this game week, I'm going to go for... they've kept 2 clean sheets and 2. Can't go with Reguilon. So maybe we go for Japhet Tanganga. For Spurs, and he's 1.9% owned. So basically what a differential pick is somebody that's not very highly owned, not very fashionable, but could potentially get some points for a reasonable sort of price. And Tanganga has 2 great fixtures, so might keep a clean sheet in both of them. And he also wins a lot of tackles too. In midfield, our differential pick for this week is going to be... I don't know who it's going to be. I have a sneaking suspicion. I'm not sure how much he's owned. Oh, he's 5.8. What about Mars? Mars is owned more than that, surely. Yeah, 7.5. I'll go with Gundogan just because he's close to 5%. He's 5.8. I just have a funny feeling that he just is going to do well. I don't know why. De Bruyne is obviously not back, so he has to take some of the workload, and I think his late runs in the box can cause Arsenal problems. So I'm going to go with Gundogan versus Arsenal. And then lastly, in the forward line, I am going to go with... Just trying to think who might be a good pick. You know who I'm actually going to go with? I don't believe he's very highly owned. Oh, he's 15% owned. I didn't know Patrick Bamford was that highly owned. Okay, we'll dodge that one. How well owned is Jamie Vardy? 15% as well. Yikes. That's the one. We'll go with Gabriel Jesus. He played last week. Did quite well. Also, there was a stat. Stat someone told me. Where something like, out of the 19 home games last season, Jesus played in 14 of them. And when he started in 14 of them. And when he was fit, he started 12 out of 14. Something like that, which is an insane stat when you think about it. So yeah, Gabriel Jesus, 8.5 million, 3.8% owned. One of the guys in my mini league brought him in, and he did quite well. He took out Salah for a hit and brought in Jesus, so he was up 5 points, I think, on the deal. So yeah, that is our differential picks. We usually post these over on Twitter as well, so make sure to check those out as well. Now, this is the team as it stands at the moment. I don't think it's going to change much. We'll talk about the transfers in just a second. Let me just see what's in the chat. Burnley does work hard, but they do start slow, I guess. But you would think they'd be a little bit better defensively. Yes, GG Man U, of course. Any thoughts on Trier for Wolves? Seen a few people tipping him as a differential, and has also been linked with Spurs. I think for 6 million he could do well. He just needs to learn how to finish. If he can finish, like his end product, literally creating and scoring, is all he needs, and he just becomes an absolute unstoppable force. So yeah. Leeds have two of the best European prospect goalkeepers, Meslier and Klaassen. Yeah, they could be very good. Meslier, I didn't realize how young Meslier actually was. He's only like 21, 20 or something like that. So yeah, pretty insane. Yeah, this is the team that we have on paper. We've got Tsimikas on the bench because I don't think he's going to play. We have Sanchez in goal, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Ayling, Shaw. That's the best back line that we can do because Veltman and Tsimikas are most likely not going to play. Salah currently with the vice-captain, Ben Rama, Barnes, Fernandez, Wilson, Antonio, and Ings. Fernandez is the captaincy, but if I bring in Son, I think Son is going to be my captain for sure because I think Spurs have the best fixture on paper. They have Watford at home. Now let's take a look at the watch list. We'll take a look at some players that we need to get rid of and some players that we need to that we could potentially keep. So Raya, he's definitely not going anywhere on our watch list. He's got 14 points, kept 2 clean sheets. He's done well. Duffy's definitely staying on the watch list. Pereira, we're going to take off the watch list because Leicester defensively did not look great. And he didn't get much done in the attacking sense. Tanganga, we're going to definitely keep on there. Cresswell, we're going to keep on there for a little bit of time being because he had a good attempt. He's on set pieces. He still could be good value. Cancelo started 2-2. He's not going anywhere. Tarkowski and Ben Mee, they're going to come off the watch list. I just think defensively, away from home, you can't you can't trust them enough, and they got to be somewhat consistent for 5 million, I think. At least getting some attacking returns in their center back, so that's going to be few and far between. Digne will keep on the watch list as well. I mean, Everton's defense isn't great, but the fixtures still warrant it. I would say if the next two show that they're still getting lit up at the back, I would probably say Digne could potentially be on the chopping block. Hoover, he didn't play versus Spurs, so he's definitely gone from the watch list. Son is staying on the watch list for sure. He's got 2 fantastic fixtures and could be the player I bring in this week. Decore, he got an assist. He's still doing well. I'm going to keep him on the watch list there. He's very low owned, 5.5 million. It's just can he get into the box often and more consistently? We'll have to see. Damari Gray scored after looking lively in their first game, so I think he'll stay on the watch list. Sar, he scored, but then didn't do too much in the next game. We'll keep him on there. Grealish, we're going to keep on there as well. Bergwijn, I think still again looks lively. I want to see what he does in this Watford fixture to see if he could potentially become something. And Buemo, still some promise. He is getting subbed though, which is a bit of a concern, but we'll keep him on there. Townsend, he's someone that is coming off the watch list because he's shown that he is potentially at risk of rotation. Trier and Trincao look lively, so I will keep them on there, but it's just a matter of which one to go for. Calvert-Lewin we're definitely keeping on there. He scored twice in back-to-back games. Richarlison is obviously one of the key players. We'll keep him on there for the time being. St. Maximin can be easily shut down by basically just hacking him down. And I think he's injury prone, so I think we're going to remove him from the watch list. Armstrong, we're definitely going to keep on there. I think there's still some promise there. See what he does versus Newcastle. Jamie Vardy, he scored in the opening game. Didn't score versus, obviously, Leicester in difficult circumstances. We'll see how he does versus Norwich, and then go from there. Cucho, obviously getting bench appearances, so he's going to be removed from the watch list. And then Raul Jimenez, we're keeping him on there because we're just monitoring him from his injury. If I join your league, do I start with 0 points or where I am now? I think as long as you've been playing from the beginning, you start from where you are. You just don't see yourself until the game week kicks off, basically. I think that's how it works, if I'm not mistaken. So let's look at the team. So Arsenal, not really looking at anyone. Defenders, we can put Tyrone Mings on the watch list because he got 2 assists and set pieces could be a threat. So we'll put him on the watch list for the time being. El Ghazi, if he's going to get significant game time now that Traore is injured, he could potentially be on the watch list as he is on penalties. So we'll have to see kind of how he does. Brentford, nobody there. Brighton, we have Duffy, I believe, on the watch list. I'm also going to put Pascal Gross on the watch list because he's got 2 assists and 2. He takes set pieces, and could potentially be on penalties. We don't know as of yet. I don't believe Brighton have gotten a penalty yet. Mopé, I'm not going to put on the watch list, though. Because he could be injured. Brighton, we have Burnley, no. Chelsea, well, definitely going on the watch list is Reece James, for sure. We're also going to have to put... we're going to have to put Lukaku on the watch list. He's got to go on the watch list. We got to keep an eye on him. I would also say... Mason Mount goes on the watch list as well. And I would say that Kai Havertz goes on the watch list as well. Crystal Palace. I don't think there's anyone here that really excites me personally. Because the fixtures aren't great at the moment, so... Everton, we already have everyone that we have on there. Leeds, I'm going to put Bamford on the watch list because he did get an assist. He got his first return, so we'll see how he kicks on. And we'll also put Rafinha on there if I haven't done that. Rafinha will go on there as well because he did score. Leicester, not really monitoring anyone. Liverpool, we already have everyone that's on there that we would want. Man City, I think Jesus is potentially someone that we can add to the watch list depending on who potentially comes in, if it's a certain Harry Kane. Diaz is definitely on the watch list too because of how good of the clean sheets, how good clean sheets potential there. Newcastle, no. Norwich, no. Southampton, we already have. Armstrong would be the only one I'd be considering. Spurs, obviously Harry Kane. Harry Kane's definitely on the watch list because now that he's back. Dele Alli is on the watch list because he scored a penalty and has played quite well in the first 2 games. I believe we have Tanganga on the watch list. Region is also someone we could put on the watch list as well. Lloris is actually someone we could put on the watch list. 2 clean sheets and 10 points and 11 points. Been doing quite well. Why am I backing Veltman? I prefer Dunk. I should have gone with Webster, potentially, which was a bit safer, but Veltman obviously had a close contact, and maybe he's picked up, he's been positive as well now, so, but it was just 0.5, it was just a 0.5 million I wanted to save. That's basically it. And also sometimes Veltman plays wingback, like when certain players are out, he can play wingback, so he gets a bit forward more in open play. That's basically it. Watford, nothing really to go off there. I guess Dennis looked lively, so we'll add him to the watch list. And he also scored and got an assist in Gameweek 1. West Ham, I've liked what I've seen from Fornals thus far, so we'll add him to the watch list. And then lastly, we'll go with Wolves. I believe we have pretty much everyone covered for the most part because Wolves haven't scored very many points. So yeah, that's going to be it for the watch list. But in terms of our transfers, the one that I had earmarked for this week was going to be Mo Salah out, and I was going to bring in Son and captain him for Game Week 3. And then I was basically going to play this exact same team, except the armband was going to be on Son, who would be in this spot. And then I would have Fernandez probably as the vice captain, just because it's a safer pick. Yeah, this is going to probably be the bench order. I'm going to put Veltman there just because it doesn't really make too much of a difference. He's not going to be back until after the international break from his flag in FPL. So we know he's going to be out, so Gilmore's going to be effectively our first in line and bench anyway. Ayling was going to be the player that was going to play in Game Week 3 anyway. But yeah, that's my most likely transfer is going to be Salah out for Son as a direct swap, and then go into the international break with 2 free transfers and see what it brings. Yeah, nothing really much else to say. I'm kind of waiting for the 25th, which is where apparently they're going to be talking about the countries that are red listed, which ones are going to be amber, which ones are going to be green, which players will have to quarantine if they go on international duty, depending on what country they go to. So they're going to be talking about that, apparently, or they're going to assess it. If they just say, oh yeah, all players that play in a bubble or whatever are fine, then they're not going to worry about it too much. And then everyone just doesn't quarantine. But there could be some coaches that are saying, yeah, my player's injured, and not go on international duty. So Liverpool apparently already telling Salah, you ain't going anywhere on international duty if you have to quarantine. So yeah, that's going to do it for this preview stream. Now we're going just over an hour. Let's talk about Fantasy Football Scout just one more time. So yeah, this is the Fantasy Football Scout membership list of many different things you can get. I'm not sure if the 20% is still on. I know it was up until Sunday, but I'm not sure if they've extended it or not. But usually it's only £20 for the whole season, and the whole season goes into the off season as well. It's a yearly subscription. It auto renews. It's fantastic. You get a bunch of different tools that you can use. You can create your own stats tables and all that sort of stuff, and it's a fantastic tool. So make sure to use the link in the About section to check that out. If you are interested in having more stats integrated to help elevate your FPL game. So, without further ado, let's move over to the big screen. I've seen that players like Salah and South Americans will not go. Yeah, it all depends on what what their clubs do or what the restrictions are basically. So yeah, it just all depends. So that's why I'm gonna kind of wait, hopefully. And just as estimation on key players potentially for price changes as well. These are just estimations; they're not guarantees. So it looks like Ben Rama, Antonio, Lukaku, Tsimikas, and Amarte could be going up in price tonight, with the likes of Region, Reece James, Raya, Calvert-Lewin, and Son being quite close. And then players going down could be Buendia, Trossard, Timo Werner, Doherty, Tella from Southampton, Hugo from Norwich, John Stones, Matty Vidra, Fraser, Hendrick, Konate, Fabinho, Rodrigo, Trincao, Joel Linton, Dennis Pratt, Ait Nuri, Nicola Pepe, Cavani, Iheanacho, Firpo, Sumari, Lo Celso, Hernandez from Norwich, Gosling, Fabio Silva, Gray from Watford, Costa, Walker Peters, Semedo, Kane, Zimmerman, Harvey Barnes from Leicester, Loftus-Cheek, Barkley, Aubameyang. There's a lot of players who potentially could be good here. Masuaku, Redmond, Kepa Arrizabalaga, Hurahan, Rashford, Fofana, Curtis Jones, sorry, not Phil Jones, and Eric Bailly. Those are all the ones that are apparently estimated to go down in price. So, make sure to, if you are worried about price drops, to be aware of that. But for now, thank you all for watching. The VOD, like I said, is going to go up on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, hi! Hope you enjoyed the show. And we'll be back stream-wise for the deadline stream on Saturday, 1 hour before the FPL deadline. So if you just scroll down to where the fixtures are, there'll be a time. We'll be here live on Twitch 1 hour before that. So make sure to come check us out for that. And if you can't watch it, then you can always watch the VOD later, as we always post them over on YouTube. So thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed it. And until the next one, take care.